3 weeks after the US election, President-elect Joe Biden has finally been given the green light to start the transition process. President Donald Trump tweeted on Tuesday that he was directing his administration to cooperate in the handover process. It's the closest he's come to conceding defeat. Meanwhile, Biden has pushed ahead and begun announcing nominations for his own administration.
Looking presidential. President-elect Joe Biden officially revealed his picks for the top positions of his cabinet Monday, signaling his readiness to take over the helm. Biden's foreign policy and national security choices mark a clear shift away from Trump's America First doctrine. Instead, a lot of familiar faces from the Obama administration. So many that some are calling it the Obama administration 2.0. The choices signal Biden's intention to return to a more traditional way of doing business and interacting with other countries. Biden's choices are veterans with many years of experience, like his longtime advisor Antony Blinken, named for the position of Secretary of State. He will be tasked with steering the country back towards the Paris Climate Agreement, the World Health Organization, and the Iran nuclear deal. The best known of the nominees is former Secretary of State John Kerry, who is poised to become Biden's climate change envoy. Former Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen is to serve as Treasury Secretary. If confirmed, she would be the first woman to take over this pivotal role and would face the difficult task of shaping U.S. economic policies at a time when the country is facing both a pandemic and recession. Biden also named Avril Haines as the first woman to become Director of National Intelligence.
The question is whether this was a wise action.
And Alejandro Mayorkas, the first Latino to head the Department of Homeland Security. Biden appears to be making good on his campaign promise that his cabinet will reflect America's diversity. Linda Thomas Greenfield was appointed to the helm of the U.S. mission to the United Nations. But many of Biden's cabinet picks will require confirmation in the Senate, where Republicans still hold a narrow majority. For now, at least, with the transition process officially underway, some of the uncertainty and turbulence of the past weeks seems to be settling down.
All right, joining me now to delve a little deeper is Peter Roller-Dahl. Hi, Peter, thanks for coming in. So this part of the process is normally just a formality, really, but it's been 3 weeks since the election, as we've just heard.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, under normal circumstances, this would not be a big deal, but you know, usually we see the official transition kick in after just a couple of days. We're now, as you said, into day 16 after Biden was declared the winner. So in this case, this absolutely is a big deal. It means that the Biden team now has access to the same intelligence that Trump has. It means that they have access to government data, to the federal agencies. And
money. And money.
And money. They have more than 6 million, which is really, really important.
Exactly.
And it really essentially means that, you know, the Biden team is going to hit the ground running when they enter. We're looking at two, at least, huge crises, the pandemic, but also an economic crisis. And so it is absolutely crucial that the Biden government can govern on day one. And that's essentially what's been blocked. And now they can finally start the process.
But this is certainly not a concession from President Trump. He's vowed to continue the fight. What avenues does he have left?
No, exactly. I think this might be the closest we'll actually see Trump getting to making an actual concession. I mean, this is more like a détente maybe after these 16 days of standoff. I think Trump is essentially bowing to the growing pressure that we've seen over the past couple of days and weeks from his own party. Just on Monday, we saw more than 100 leading Republican security experts coming out saying that he has to concede. This transition needs to start happening because essentially this is posing a national security threat, not not just in terms of the pandemic, but also because adversaries out there are looking at a very dysfunctional government. There's a kind of a vacuum of power in a way. And so, Trump has said that he will continue the legal challenges. We see that he's still hoping for recounts in Georgia and Wisconsin to change the outcome. That's very unlikely that's going to happen. Michigan has now certified Biden as the winner of that state. So, Trump will maybe continue to do this, but the chances that anything is going to change, very, very unlikely.
All right, now I want to turn to the president-elect. Joe Biden has started announcing key cabinet picks. The first Latino as head of Homeland Security, as we saw in the piece, the first woman as director of national intelligence. Quite a varied slate.
Absolutely. I think in a lot of ways, this is the anti-Trump government. I mean, this is an attempt, I think, to calm a lot of frazzled nerves, both, abroad and at home. It's, I think, also the closest that we're going to get to, a technocratic government in the U.S. I mean, as we heard in that report there, we are talking about people who have served under the Obama administration, have served in previous administrations before that, who have decades of experience under their belt. Notably also, there are no really big name picks. A lot of speculation about other presidential candidates like Elizabeth Warren, for instance, who was very interested in getting Treasury Secretary. So Biden also, they're really trying to show himself as a centrist, as someone who will govern from the center and who will need both sides to come together, and also reflecting that reality that Biden is facing when he takes office on January 20th, that he will not have a majority in the Senate, or if so, a very, very slim one. He has lost ground in the House, so he will need both sides to come together in order to be able to govern.
All right, Peter Roledal, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Just how easily Joe Biden can push through his agenda as president would come down to the US state of Georgia. 2 runoff elections there in January will decide if the Democrats or the Republicans will control the US Senate. DW's Washington Bureau Chief Inez Paul visited one small Georgia town to see the political divide close up.
In the heart of one of the most divided counties in Georgia lies the town Milledgeville. Half of its population is white and 48% is African American. In an antique shop in downtown, we find many items that reflect the time when Milledgeville was Georgia's state capital. That was during the Civil War, when the Confederacy, including Georgia, fought to keep slavery. Some elements of that time still seem relevant to shop owner Larry Houston, who seems to be stuck in the past.
There is never going to be equality in race.
He has a grim take on the current political situation.
No, I don't think the Republicans and the Democrats are going to meet on a level playing field.
Floyd Griffin has been doing his bit to level Georgia's political playing field for decades. He was the first Democrat to have been elected from this area to the Georgia Senate and also served as Milledgeville's mayor.
The bottom line is racism here in America. The present majority, the white community, are going to be the minorities here pretty soon. And they fear that the black and brown people are going to take over.
The divisions here in Milledgeville broadly reflect those of the whole of the USA. Bringing together people who feel as differently as Floyd Griffin and antique shop owner Larry Houston do is a major challenge. But they need to work together on the many problems in the country and in the town. Stephen Hauser has some ideas. He is the director of the local library and helps organize the initiative On the Table. It brings people together to discuss local issues in a constructive way. The approach is low drama and encourages everyone to get involved.
I think the biggest issue for us is what is America? We've had a lot of changes in the last couple of years, and a lot of the norms that we've had, for better or for worse, have gone away. And I think we're looking at a future of what is our value, what are our ideas of how we should behave toward each other, and what is the common purpose that we have. I think we've lost a little track of that, and I'd love to see that come together in the future.
For that, Americans have to start listening to one another and stop shouting over each other.